Hello, welcome to Sanjeev Tanna World Affairs, also known as ST World Affairs. I am Sanjeev Tanna. Our show covers a wide range of stories related to social issues, businesses, startups, finance, health, politics, non-profit, entertainment, and arts. Today, we'll be learning from two architects about what it takes to plan and design buildings and coordinate constructions. Whether you are remodeling your house or renovating your commercial property, you need a responsible architect that can see possibilities and finds a solution to your custom needs. Winder Gibson Architects firm was founded in 1987 in San Francisco. They have been involved in a variety of scales and programs. Winder Gibson's clients are in San Francisco Bay Area, Wine Country, Northern California, Hawaii, and beyond. John Winder grew up in Fresno, California. He graduated with degrees in architecture and art history. My second guest, Jeff Gibson, he grew up in Toronto, Canada, and took his professional architecture degree at McGill University in Montreal. Jeff and John, welcome to the show. So, John, I want to start with you. So, over the past 3 centuries, the houses and buildings have changed because of advancement in the construction materials. There are more and more government oversights. You have many financial incentives also. So my question is that what have you seen progressive changes over the past 3 decades, since you have been in business for many years, in terms of the technology of architecture, how buildings are being built, how it used to design before, and how you are designing now?
Well, you know, I graduated in the early 70s and then was in an architecture office in the late 70s. And at that time we were actually drafting with graphite pencil, parallel rules and everything. And eventually, by the time we get to when the firm's starting, we were just beginning to get into computers. And at that point they were kind of replacing technical drawings was the goal. But they have now evolved today where we don't even have graphite pencils in our office. Everything is done on the computer. And whether it's communications with clients or storage of documents or any of that stuff. So the computer is a big thing. The other aspect is the complexity of the building codes now, the complexity of the government and neighborhood involvement and all of the different groups that are now part of anything, including a simple addition to an existing house or building. So it's a much more complex situation. I guess the other thing that's kind of interesting is how computers really allow you to do much more complicated buildings. When you see some of the modern buildings that have these wild curves and stuff, those things would have never been possible with hand drafting because you just couldn't have done that kind of complexity. So, and it also allows us to do everything from creating templates to give to contractors for cutting out specific shapes and materials and doing all. So there's a much more of a collaborative effort for the team that way.
Good. So, Jeff, since you teach, so you probably know about the history also. So in 18th century, North American houses were like European styles, right? Very small, large size. And then over the period of time, the 19th century, I think it gradually, the large size become a little bit bigger, but still, you cannot say bigger than what it used to be, what we have right now. So, and I think the bedroom concept was introduced in late 1800 or 19th. So the point I'm trying to make here is that now in modern days, a city like San Francisco, you are always juggling with the space. So my question is that how do you plan, especially let's say if your client wants to renovate your property in San Francisco and they don't have too much space, what are the challenges you face?
We have this idea in the office that architecture is a social pattern, and we talk a lot about social flow. And so the idea that architecture is a social pattern is really that every house sort of suggests a way of living, if you will. And if you want to move into an older house, it's almost going to suggest that you live in that older way. And we live differently now. We live in a lot more open way, right? The party's always in the kitchen. And so the sort of open concept and the way that we interact with each other today is very different. So we see our job as architects to really sort of become very close with our clients and to try to understand the social pattern that they're looking for in their home. If it's a new home, then we're designing an architecture around that social pattern for them, creating brilliant social flow, a great livability. If we're doing a remodel, and that's usually what we're doing in San Francisco, it's very hard to tear down existing houses, it's very hard to get permission to do that, so we remodel. And as we remodel, what we're doing is we're trying to sort of adjust the social pattern, take the social pattern from what it was to what you want it to be. The great thing about wood-framed houses, it's pretty easy to take down walls and move windows and that kind of thing, and so it's about adapting it, but always with that end goal in mind of what is the social feeling, what is the livability that the client is looking for in the end.
Okay, so let's just follow up with that question, that where do you see future trends as far as the urban planning in the Bay Area?
Right, so it's a really exciting time to be in the Bay Area. We're growing at a very quick rate. You know, there's a lot of really interesting, beautiful single-family houses happening, but really the trend here and the necessity is dealing with the local housing crisis. We need denser multifamily living. We've obviously have a lot of that in San Francisco, but what we're seeing is a real expansion of that. We're working on a big, amazing project in Oakland, in Jack London Square right now. I think there's a couple images of that showing. And we're looking at some other similar sites up and down the peninsula, potential up and down the whole 101 Caltrain corridor. And I think a lot of these really amazing little towns up and down the peninsula, Redwood City, San Carlos, other towns, they're ready for this next step. They're ready to allow a denser, less car-focused development to take place. And we're really ready to work on those things with them.
Okay, so John, since you have been in the industry for so many years, and
don't remind me.
So your job is a kind of a consumer-centric, whether you like it or not. You deal with your customer every day, right? You are working with consumers' dream. You know, everybody wants to own a house or property or something like that. So. But there are times, I mean, I deal with sometimes difficult clients also when I used to have my own business. So how do you deal with these difficult clients, or clients who are kind of constantly demanding, or you just cannot meet their expectations? So how do you work around with those kind of clients? And in essence, that what I'm trying to say, that what kind of message do you want to explain here? What kind of message you want to deliver here, that okay, that will make your job easy, and then you can fulfill their dream and requirements as per their expectations?
Well, I don't see them as difficult, as more, I see them in a sense that they maybe don't understand how the construction industry works, how the regulation industry and governments work. And in a sense, it becomes kind of a job to be patient, to kind of educate them to how the process works, and clue them into building trust, because we've dealt with a lot of these situations, a lot of difficult and awkward situations, and we've worked out how to realize the successful kind of outcome to that. And that becomes kind of that whole aspect of the clients are not really difficult, it's just that they think that they know how it should happen, and your job becomes kind of to in an understanding and patient way to let them better understand how it is, but you also have to give them the pathway for how we can get through this situation that may be new to them, but assure them that there is a way to get to what they want.
Right. So I mean, that's the reason I think it would be beneficial for our viewers if we can walk us through, if any one of you can walk through a process of architects, what's happening behind the video. So we have one of the clip here which you can explain to us in a layman's term, what is the meaning of what's happening behind the scene?
Sure. Making architecture is really exciting. I mean, it's why we do what we do. We love this job, and especially I'm going to focus on a house project that we just completed in San Jose. The slides will kind of show you that. As a process, it really begins with the dialogue. It begins with the communication with the client, trying to understand their hopes, their dreams, and trying to realize what their goals are, but then to meet their goals in a surprising way. We love to surprise our clients. We love to delight them. And so it begins with a concept. It begins with an idea, some sketches in a sketchbook, just brainstorming, getting the ideas out there. In our office, we work as a team. We work as a collaboration of 3 or 4 people on each project. And as the project evolves, we're always in that communication with the clients, but also ever-growing communication with other stakeholders, talking to the planning department, talking to neighbors, talking to contractors, ensuring that we're creating a buildable building. It's something that's going to be approved, something that's going to meet their budget, that's going to meet their timeline, that's going to work. But it's so fun as the project evolves. We start with the sketches, we develop floor plans and computer drawings, we do computer modeling, we begin to show simple renderings and then more complex renderings. And in the end, we get to the finished product. And that moment when you walk into your living room, double height, tall windows, the sunlight pouring through, you've seen it in a rendering months ago, and now the paint is dry. It is the emotional moment. It's just brilliant. It's such an honor to be part of that with our clients and to give them something they always wanted in a way they never expected to get it.
Well, and I also, for us, there's so much satisfaction. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, Jeff, that you got an email from a client of a finished project. Jennifer sends an email 2 months after it's been finished. They've moved in, and they send us an email that basically says, hey, I was just sitting here looking at this wonderful house that you have helped us realize for our family, and I was just so excited to be here, I had to send something to you. I don't know how much better it gets than to have a complete stranger that has become your friend acknowledging how much you've helped them realize their dreams in their life. To me, that's what we're in the business for.
That must be very satisfactory.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, good. So what's the biggest difference when you are taking the job? Do you have any different processes or different mindset? This is a commercial property, or this is a residential. The process is same, or
there are similarities and there are differences. I mean, you know, with a residential project, it's a much more emotional thing, because this is where people are going to raise their children, they're going to raise their lives, they spend more time there. It's something very personal to them. So all of the choices are very critical for them. And from our point of view, we don't want to impose what we think you should be doing. We want to listen to you and hear from you, what do you really want? We encourage them to give us images, and when we start and everything, and builds from there in that conversation to get something very personal that they want. If you look at our projects, you'll see that they range from very traditional to very contemporary, because we're responding to each client has different. A commercial project, however, on the other side, is a much more, it's just like when you go to buy something at a store, clothing, you have a very different relationship to that clothing. You're just buying it from a clerk. You're interested in the cost. You're interested in the fit. You want to make sure you're not going to be there forever. It's going to happen. But the clothing that you're trying on in your closet is very different. You're testing out different ideas. You're deciding what image do you want to project, and a lot of things. So it's a very different kind of dynamic.
Jeff, John, I would like to thank you, both of you, to coming down here. I wish we had more time to talk about it, and I'm pretty much sure you'll be coming to our show in near future. So if you wish to contact Jeff or John, here is their contact information. You can visit them online, www.archsf, that's A-R-C-H, ArchSF. Just remember, Architecture San Francisco, that's archsf.com, or you can send them an email at info@archsf.com. Also, do tell us about our show, stfs.com, what kind of stories you would like to hear. And you can contact us several ways. You can email me at talk@stfs.com, or you can send me a Twitter, or you can use Twitter at stfs.com, or you can use Facebook at facebook.com/stfs.com. Till we meet next time, thank you very much.
Thank you.